Older and Dumber.
Thank you all for joining us for another episode of Older and Dumber, the podcast about three dumb friends just trying to make it on this planet we call
Two dumb friends.
It is
Carter
two dumb
couldn't
friends.
be bothered.
Couldn't be bothered.
Just kidding. He's in a very car situation.
In a car situation.
So his situation is he won't just buy a car. His situation is he can't be bothered. He's not here to defend himself.
You're right. He's not
I'll
here.
say whatever the I want.
Show empty chair.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, welcome. This is the podcast. Obviously, you have missed all the other fun stuff we did beforehand because you're not a patron. But
Yeah,
if
you
you'd
get a
like
lot
to,
more if you're a patron.
yeah, if you'd like to experience all the exclusiveness, please join our Patreon for as low as
$5 a month
boom. It's less than a cup of coffee.
from your favorite coffee shop
Boom. So you can hear all the fun stuff we just talked about a little while ago
with our patrons.
And you can get in on the conversation. But today, what we're going to be talking about for our topic is the power fantasy in video games. What makes us feel like heroes? What about what?
That's why people play video games, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Dating sims, and then you're just trying to get the power fantasy of actually being able to go on a date.
Nice. I was about to say I actually love sim games, like Life Simulator. There's no power fantasy in there. That's not the point of this topic, Joey. All right. First things first. Let's define power fantasy. What is the power fantasy in video games?
So you're at your job 40 hours a week. You're getting on by every dirtbag retail customer that exists. Crackheads trying to trade you garbage. Karen's coming in telling you you're trash. You're cabbage.
The cabbage.
You can go home and you've got your 2 hours to sit down and turn on your video game, and for those 2 hours you get to stomp. You get to rip and tear.
Whoa. That's your power fantasy, is just being absolutely.
You could be, maybe you're the greatest hero. All those people have to grovel at your feet because you're the number 2 hero endeavor.
Whoa. Everybody but All Might.
Yeah, you couldn't make All Might grovel at your feet.
Could never.
And they would all cheer when he showed up. But if he's not there, you look pretty good. Or maybe, it's just you get to Fortnite dance on some scrub because you hooked up your Chrono Sen and they didn't.
So you think there's a wide range of definition for the power fantasy?
It's about feeling strong at something.
Yeah.
And it could be, your skill. It could just be where you're at in a story. It could be just, I'm good at this one repetitive task, and
so I keep doing it.
Brings me peace.
I'm really good at making number go up. So I keep doing it. Yeah, and video games do a really good job at that through their narrative, their gameplay, their design.
I would argue that it's better than a movie or a show or a book
because way longer
because of the skill input.
Yeah.
Because you have to interact.
Yeah. It only progresses because of you.
Right.
It's not something you just sit there and watch and you're done an hour later and you're like, oh yeah, that was all right. You have to earn it.
You can get that power fantasy through those mediums, but I think in gaming specifically, there's that interactive element which makes it, that much more.
Do you think people should play more video games?
Video games, tabletop games. Yeah.
Games are a very important part of people's lives, or at least it should be. You know what?
You know what? We talk about all this stuff on our D&D show.
We do.
OlderNDumber.
Oh, yeah. Which we were not wearing the same outfits in the episode.
No,
you've
never seen us look like this before. You've never seen Hunter's hand in my screen. You've never. Yeah. So I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I know what you're talking about. I was going to say something. When I run for president, my platform is going to be run on play more video games. Hunter for president for more tabletop meeples. I'm a people for the meeple.
A people for the meeple. 2028.
Yeah. Anyway, So yeah, we're talking about power fantasy. I think what we should start with is some examples of power fantasy games. And we're gonna use 3 different categories here, but the first category is superhero games.
Mhm.
What superhero games do you feel gave you the semblance of power fantasy, or of being a hero, or being more than you could be? You go first.
Overwatch.
Oh damn! In its prime.
Yeah, in its prime.
Overwatch in its prime. Okay, yeah, I could see that.
You
Yeah.
no matter, for the most part, all the characters in that really fulfilled a specific, like, no matter who you were playing, you were like, oh yeah, I can do some cool shit.
We're talking prime Overwatch, Overwatch 1.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
right after Sombra dropped.
Yes, yeah, dude. That was prime life for Overwatch. Dude, I remember, because I had never really played it. You got me into it. You were like, we should play this game. And I was like, are you sure? He's like, yeah.
Bro, I was
yeah.
going over to the public library to play that game.
That's wild, dude.
Taking my PS3 over to the library, my little monitor.
Dude, I remember going to the public library every day after school with my friends to go play RuneScape. We would do huge LAN parties at the public library for RuneScape. That's funny. Anyway, so Overwatch. I can 100% feel that, because not only, like you said, when you play a character, you're like, I feel like I am that character. It's very, like you just are. You just do it. That's the whole point of that game. But the cinematics for that game in its prime. If they didn't make you cry or really feel for those fucking characters, then you are dead inside.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, prime in its prime Overwatch.
Yeah.
Big time superhero game that fulfilled that, I think. Well, mine's going to feel like shit now. For a superhero game. And yours counted as superhero because they were, the whole fact was that it was like the hero initiative.
Yeah, it was like the Avengers of that universe.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Overwatch.
Yeah. Mine feels kind of stupid, but for a superhero game, I'm gonna say Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Spider-Man is
The new ones.
yes, the new Web of Shadows wasn't bad. But no, Spider-Man 2018?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2018.
So long ago.
Yeah.
Crazy,
Gosh,
right?
crazy. But that game still holds up.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, like Insomniac did wonderfully. Like, wow, they really built a game that just went above the expectation of what they could have done for a Spider-Man game. Something that just had so much fluid movement and stuff. Blah,
So
blah.
much web fluid
Yeah, really, really good.
everywhere.
Oh, and you know what? Because Spider-Man was kind of a cop-out, I just realized a game I really wanted to say for superhero games. Do you remember, and I don't know if you can call it a superhero game. That's why I kind of didn't want to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm going against the stereotypes. Infamous.
I remember,
Infamous 1 and
yeah.
2. And even Second Son. Infamous was so fun. Like, I felt like in those games very specifically, because it had the good and evil track, you could feel the power as you continued. Like, at first, if you're a good guy, it's like little bit. Here's a little power. Here's a little power. You get a little stronger. But if you went evil, you fucking felt it instantly. You're like, I kill everyone on the street. They're all dead. Lightning everywhere.
That was like BioShock, too. Like,
Yes.
if you decided to, like, drain the little sisters and get the
more and more
upgrades quicker.
Yeah. Wild. So those are some great superhero examples. RPGs and open worlds. Go ahead.
So I've been playing one right now that's really fulfilling.
Oh yeah, I think for everybody it does.
I've been playing Elden Ring. And
Mm.
man, never have I felt so small.
Oh yeah.
And then when you win a fight, you just are on the top of the mountain.
I've won. You're standing at the top, shirts ripped open. You're on your knees. Ah!
It is like, I remember every time you come to a boss, you're like, okay, I'm ready. Go in
So
there.
ready.
It just tent pegs you.
Done. You're
One
dead.
hit. You're like, I'm not ready.
I wasn't
So
ready.
you go out, you level up, and you come back, and you fight them. And you can get through like three times, and you're like, oh my god, I'm not there.
Back.
You go in, you farm up, and you come back. And then all of a sudden, you hit like a tipping point, and it's like, bam, and you hit him, and he like stuns, and he goes down half health, and you're like, oh my god, I'm ready. This is it.
Yeah, that kind of stuff's really awesome. Like, I haven't been able to play Elden Ring myself yet, but I really want to. But that feeling is pretty awesome. For me, RPG and open world, I'm going to say the game that I know everybody knows I'm going to say, and that is Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
However, Mass Effect, I think, does the power fantasy for me in a much different way. Usually the power fantasy is I feel strong, I feel powerful, I am the best. For Mass Effect, it's more about being the hero.
Mm-hmm.
It made me feel like I got to make a difference. Like I felt like because of my actions in that game, I made the galaxy a better place.
Yeah.
You know, like I could feel that story as I played Mass Effect. And for me, that's the power fantasy I want, is being able to affect actual change. And that's a pretty big power fantasy because in the real world, you ain't doing that. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'd also say Fallout New Vegas too.
Yeah, that's
So
another
all the
one.
Fallout specifically, but New Vegas was done in such a way like you start off and you have to like get the whole town on your side to do that first fight, and by the time you're like at endgame New Vegas, you're just like this fucking badass gunslinger who's this like
wild. Yeah, that's, I would say, yeah, Fallout has a good power fantasy to it, I would say. Yeah.
like in the power armors and stuff in 4 and 76. Now that it's more like tank like and you can build to a power armor build.
Yes, yep.
Feels so good.
Now, shooter and action games. I think we both have one that we want to say, which is, oh, I have another one even also. Halo.
Yeah.
Master Chief himself, Spartan 117 John.
Yeah.
Halo. If you have not played that game and gone through the trauma that is that story.
I think Halo 2 specifically as far as power fantasy goes.
Okay.
You had the dual wielding in part 2.
Yeah. I mean, that's when it started. Yeah.
Halo 2 always felt really like.
You think so?
Yeah. That's the one where you also drop out of orbit, I think.
Uh,
I'm going to give the Covenant their bomb.
yes,
so
that
fucking
yes,
good. Dude.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
right off the start. Right off the rip.
It's good stuff. Master Chief was a complete badass without having to be over the top.
Yeah.
Like, he was the most calm badass you've ever met in your life. It wasn't, oh, I'm going to bring them their damn bomb back. It's, I'm going to go ahead and send them their bomb back. You know what I mean?
I think
like,
he asked for permission. I think he calls the sergeant. He's
permission to return their
permission
bomb.
to return the Covenant's bomb.
Yeah. Like, that's wild. And he's such a, that's another thing too about the game. He's such a military man too.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he is, oh, dude, all about saving the world, all about doing what it is for the cost of his own life. Like, that's what he was built for, and that's what he does.
It's so cool. Like, and then
He wants freedom.
you come across like the regular soldiers, and they're so pumped.
Oh, yeah.
When
They're
you
like,
come in.
it's fucking Chief. Oh, my God. Everyone's like, we're safe. We ain't dying. Like, it's wild. Dude, and I, you know what I really love about that that franchise is they do so much live action skits, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's, I've seen one where it's like they do interviews of soldiers who have met Chief, and they're like, we were down to nothing. We were scavenging ammo off of the enemy. We couldn't even see daylight ahead. But then he came, and Chief saved us all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's so great. Like, they're so serious. It almost feels like you're watching a real commercial for, like, the U.S. Marines, like, trying to recruit you, and it's Halo. And you're like, what the shit? But Halo, man, if that doesn't have a great power fantasy for an action shooter, and just being a fucking damn hero, real damn Earth hero, not American hero, an Earth hero.
It really feels like one of the last good one-man army games.
I could see it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I paused for a second there is because I also want to bring up Gears of War.
But Gears, you're on a team.
You are on a team.
Got Dom,
Marcus Phoenix does a lot.
Coltrane.
Marcus Phoenix does a lot, but he definitely couldn't have done it without his team.
Yeah.
And the multiple people who helped him along the way, Dom included.
Several Carmines.
Several Carmines. Man, Carmine, dude. Oh, that's an NPC I want to make, is an NPC that's like Carmine, where it's this continuous family, and you'll always mean you're like, oh, you're going to die. Oh, man. It wasn't until the third one that we got a Carmine that didn't die, right? Yeah, I think so. Because even in
Mail, no. She'll put it in the
Mail,
notes.
no. But dude, Gears of War, absolutely fantastic power fantasy action
yeah.
shooter game, I would say.
Bro,
Big
the
time.
Lancer? If you don't feel like a badass
Iconic.
when you're cutting somebody in half with a Lancer?
Iconic. And the way that they made multiple different animations for that, it wasn't just like that's it. No, sometimes you clashed. Sometimes you did it from the back, sometimes you did it from the side, sometimes you did it from underneath them. Like they put so much work into that to make you feel like you were doing something crazy. Gears of War, yeah, I would say that's another really good power fantasy.
And then there's the ultimate shooter power fantasy game.
What?
Doom.
Yeah, you can't forget Doom, especially. So, we aren't talking to the people who played it on their PC when it looked like a corridor game and you just walked.
It like that.
You did play that.
You do,
but
there is some power fantasy in that, but not like
not like the new ones. You could definitely admit that the 2016, 2020 Dooms, completely different. Yeah. And not only that, but like when you add in the music, wow, that's something we didn't talk about on all of these, but music makes a huge difference. I mean, hell, to introduce Halo, we did the damn theme song. Like, music can make another huge difference in these games. Not that goes to your power fantasy.
It does. Like,
you think so?
At the, usually during the high action scenes,
it's
accompanied by a soundtrack.
It is. You're not
That's
wrong.
What, like Elden Ring.
That
title screen, like, oh, I'm ready to go.
Joyce in his seat, like, anyway,
just like that.
Just like that. He's like, Melania. Anyway,
rot me.
Doom's a great one. That one's a lot of complete carnage.
Oh yeah, like you grabbing guys and ripping them apart.
Oh yeah. Doom's main character though, I don't think it's almost not the opposite, but as
the Doomslayer.
Yes, the Doomslayer. Yeah. He's essentially a Master Chief kind of character, but he's blank. He's designed for you to be the Doomslayer. You are the Doomslayer. There's not a Doomslayer, but you are the Doomslayer. So that's really cool. But Doom, another big one for the power fantasy. Yeah, for sure. All right, so that's our examples of games. And we've kind of touched on a couple of these things, but the elements that create the heroic or power fantasy feeling in a game. First thing being,
just said the soundtrack.
Yes, audio and visual design. Not just what it sounds like, what it looks like. Like that might be, for some people that might be on the bottom of the list, for some people that might be on the top of the list.
It was one of the things in like The Last of Us, like when you do the melee combat and you hit somebody and it actually, like, if you hit them in the stomach, their guts like spill out on the ground when they die. Like there's always a certain, like, if you can affect some of the Dark Souls games had it too, where if you targeted a limb, you could cut the limb off, and it would change like how the fight went because the boss would have to react differently because it was missing a limb.
Yep.
Stuff like that is big. Obviously, the soundtrack, like in Doom, for example, when you reach in, you want to hear that visceral, like, and then you rip it out.
Rips it out, snaps a neck, grabs some bones, whatever it is.
So that's big. The sound of the guns are very important. Like if you're in a shooter, like you want something that has a really bassy.
Yeah.
If you listen to like real gunshots compared to like video game gunshots, they don't just go out on the range and record actual guns.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's big. And then obviously the musical score that's with that is super important too, because that all builds up with everything else. So
yeah, big time. So audio and visuals, mechanics. There are some mechanics in games that really can make you feel that. An example for me, and I don't know if a bunch of people have done it yet, but I've actually mentioned this game before, Star Wars Outlaws. Not that game gives me a huge power fantasy, but its version of mechanics is what can derive towards creating that power fantasy through mechanics, which is you completing objectives with an ability to gain a better ability. Those specific ways of you put the work in, you get the better reward. So I think for mechanic wise, that's a big thing for video games to help you create that power fantasy.
I think all of those, the best sort of power fantasy games have some kind of mechanic that plays into it. Elden Ring, for example, you have the opportunity to build up and then eventually score a critical hit, which will stun your enemy. which gives you the chance to just wail on them without them
sunder
hitting you
them
back.
or whatever.
And then
yeah,
there's
or
like
stagger.
parrying, like if you can perfect parry,
Mhm.
you can stagger them.
That's like a new Star Wars games.
Yeah,
Like Cal Kestis. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And Halo 2 adding dual wielding. It's nothing like, because I played GoldenEye.
There's nothing like holding 2 needlers in your hand
Exactly.
and making 2 different guys explode from pink needles.
Like I started on GoldenEye. That was like my real first multiplayer first-person shooter, and you could dual wield rocket launchers in GoldenEye.
Stupid.
Talk about a power fantasy.
How does that even work? And actually, to mention another of my favorite games, which is Mass Effect, is, you know, as you play these characters, you gain experience points and you get skills, which is, you know, in most games. But it's not just, oh, you leveled up, here's your new skill. It's you leveled up. Here is a wide variety of skills you can choose from to level up to fit your play style for your power fantasy. So that's another good mechanic.
Yeah.
Another thing is narrative.
Yep.
Narrative, I think, narrative is probably one of my biggest things for power fantasy, I think. Creating a compelling story that puts me in the driver's seat. A narrative that makes me feel like what I'm doing has meaning, has stake, has all of
big
it.
epic moments that feel powerful.
Yes. It can't just be, I sliced a guy. Oh, cool, but why? And where am I? What's the importance? I think
some of the best ones are the ones that show, like, you'll have like a huge enemy in the background and you'll see it all throughout the game, and then eventually
then you
and
gotta
have to
fight it. Yeah, that's good stuff. Mass Effect, for example. When you're doing in Mass Effect 2, when you're doing Grunt's loyalty mission, he has to prove that he's a true Krogan, because Grunt is actually a tank-born Krogan, which is frowned upon, because Krogan should be born from the
squads,
from the loins, you know. But the only thing is that Krogans, it's like 1 in every 1,000 Krogan babies survive. There's thousands of stillborn Krogans on Tuchanka that get thrown into a pit because they can't make it, they can't live. But here's Grunt. Here's Grunt.
How's that for your power fantasy?
Whoa. Here's Grunt, a tank-born Krogan that didn't even have to be a baby. He's just a full-grown adult Krogan and has to prove himself as a true Krogan, because he was made by the great scientist, the great Krogan scientist, that I can't remember his name, to be true. Because this guy wanted to
wound up being a villain.
He wasn't. He was a good guy. But he got, you know, it doesn't matter. We'll get to that later. But for Grunt's loyalty mission, you have to go and prove yourself that you're a true Krogan. So you go through all these trials. But the entire time the trial's going on, you're seeing this serpent in the background. And it's mentioned, oh shit, there's a Thrasher Maw nearby. It'll be fine though. Da-da-da-da-da. But then the very last thing is time to call in the Thresher Maw. So you send out these seismic waves, and you're fucking fighting the Thrasher Maw now. So yeah, that shit like that, you know, super cool. So narrative and world design. That's a big thing too. I think that's all 4 of these are all really important. I think it just depends on what type of game you're making for what's the most important. But building a world that is memorable, not a world that just exists.
Feels lived in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like as if I could actually go there. That's
because you got to believe it to live the power fantasy. Well,
you're right.
That's 25, I think.
25 what?
Minutes.
Oof.
Sorry, May.
That one was a good topic, though.
I think we did good.
Yeah, I think we did good. Anyway. Well, you heard it here, guys. That's all we've got for you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our Power Fantasy talk. Please give us the question to you guys is, what's a moment in a video game where you felt truly powerful or heroic? Why did it resonate with you?
Hell yeah. Put it in the comments, brothers.
That's a question we were going to answer too, but we don't have time for it now. But I think
you
we
have to
answered
answer it for us.
I think we answered it a couple times.
Yeah.
But please answer it in the comments, guys. But anyway, thank you so much.
We answered it.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Joey. Oh, no, we're going to do a pre-recorded outro.
We're going to have an outro, but we'll do one anyway. Make sure you like, comment, share the video to help us beat the algorithm. If you want more of our content, you can find it everywhere on the internet at OlderNDumber. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/OlderNDumber. And you can check out our D&D live play, our little power fantasy, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/OlderNDumber. Get us out of here.
Thank you guys so much for watching the Older and Dumber podcast. The podcast about two dumb friends just trying to make it on this planet we call
Earth.
See you guys later. Have a wonderful day, and remember to live your power fantasy.
Hey there, dipshits. It's me, Joey, a.k.a. Slooty Mage.
I'm Hunter, voice of Hunter Taylor.
And I'm Carter, Eagle Eagle. We're
Older and Dumber.
Every Friday, we drop wisdom, humor, and a whole lot of nonsense. You won't want to miss it.
Become a patron today for as low as $5 a month. Get early access to all our episodes and exclusive behind-the-scenes looks at all the things we're doing and May's super secret editing notes.
Shout out to all our awesome dipshits. Your support really helps keep this madness going.
Join the crew. Be a dipshit. It's an exclusive club, and you're invited.
Go Dipshits mark your calendar every Friday for a dose of Older and Dumber craziness. See you there.
Fade to black. On my stand. Fade to black.